Hello friends and welcome to AppleQuest. Today we're eating a wild twist apple. We'll get a close-up of that for you. The produce number on the sticker you're looking for is 3519. I have had these before, but it's been a little while. I'm pretty excited. I learned some interesting things while researching this one. The parentage on the wild twist, you simply can't go wrong here. The wild twist is a cross between the Cripps Pink, aka the Pink Lady, on the one hand, and a Honeycrisp on the other. The breeding began with Regal Fruit International, which is a name that'll be a little familiar if you've watched a few AppleQuest videos. Regal Fruit International is the breeder, and they began crossing the Cripps Pink and the Honeycrisp in 2002. The apple has been on market since February of 2020. But it actually goes back a little further than 2020 because Wild Twist is a rebranded apple that's been out on the East Coast since 2011. Regal Fruit International announced that the apple was ready for sale in 2009, and in 2009 it was picked up by Hess Brothers. Hess Brothers is a third-generation family-owned fruit packing and marketing company in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and they picked it up and they started selling it on the East Coast in 2011. So the idea here for Hess Brothers was that they wanted, I'm not too familiar with this term, but they wanted a smaller scale managed variety or club apple, as they're apparently called, to, they wanted this for the East Coast to compete with the smaller managed club varieties available in the Pacific Northwest. So they got a hold of Regal 1045 in 2011, and they started marketing it under the name Sweet Cheeks. If you're anything like me, you would have bought 20 pounds immediately, but for whatever reason, it just didn't take off under that name, which is a little bit surprising. If you think about some of the varieties that have come out of New Zealand, they have similarly cheeky names like Envy and Smitten, to a much lesser extent, Jazz. I'm throwing Jazz in there because I want to bring up the problem that they thought they had with the name Sweet Cheeks. Sweet Cheeks didn't really advertise the parentage very well, being Cripps Pink and Honeycrisp. But then again, neither do the apples Jazz, Smitten, or Envy. So I'm not really sure why it didn't take off, because if I were in a grocery store and I saw an apple I had never seen before and it was labeled Sweet Cheeks, I'd be like, I don't even need a sample. Just give me 20 pounds. I'll buy them sight unseen just so I can say that I've eaten 20 pounds of Sweet Cheeks. For clout, I guess. But that just wasn't working out. So Hess Brothers rebranded the Sweet Cheek as Wild Twist. And if you see these in the store, and they're in stores now, they do make a big point of marketing them as a cross between a Cripps Pink and a Honeycrisp. So I know I already like these, but first I've got a list of stores this is where you can find this apple. I'll link to this in the description below. In alphabetical order, or roughly, we have Acme, Aldi, Corbin's, Costco, Dave's, Food for Less, Fred Meyer, Fresh Market, where I got mine, Fry's, Giant, Harris Teeter, King's, Kowalski's, Kroger, Lancaster Central Market, Mex, Publix, Ralph's, Respecs. I think that, correct me in the comments if I'm butchering the pronunciation of that. Respecs, Safeway, Sam's Club, Schnucks, haven't heard of them. You can also find the Wild Twist at Sendik's, Smith's, Stouffer's, Wegmans, Whole Foods, and Woodman's. Ay caramba. So we know where it came from. We know when it came from. We know the false attempt at marketing under Sweet Cheeks. But let's just see what it tastes like. Yeah, that's good. If you like a crisp, if you like a crisp, crunchy apple that has a balanced combination of sweet and tart, you could get that just by going right to the Cripps Pink. But there are the Cripps Pink. I mean, let's face it. It's a wonderful apple, but it just kind of oh, I didn't start my timer. I'm not sure how long this is going to go. The Cripps Pink just kind of hits you right over the head with its flavor. Here, we have the sweet and tart balance of a Cripps Pink, but there is the additional sweetness and floral notes that you find in a Honeycrisp. There's the honey sweetness of a Honeycrisp with the sweet and tart balance of a Cripps Pink. Hold up. Yeah, it's good. This is a good apple. I mean, when you cross a Honeycrisp and a Cripps Pink, I mean, that's such strong parentage. You really can't go wrong. Hmm. Yeah, this is good. I gotta check my time here. How are we doing on time? Halfway through. Um, hmm. Let's begin rating it. Um, so let's think about the first rating, the Bay test. Does it have Big Apple energy? Um, Denied. It will, but it has to be on market longer. It's only been widely available since 2020. I mean 2011. if you live on the East Coast. But for the rest of us schmucks who didn't get to try this apple sooner, it's only been available since February of 2020. So when I think of Big Apple Energy, I think of something more than just, does it grab your attention when you bite into it? There's something cultural about Big Apple Energy, something that goes beyond an individual. So I would say the jury is still out on that. For now, no Big Apple Energy. In terms of a star rating, going on a scale of 1 to 5, it's good. I know that I have a really good example here. So if I'm doing star ratings based on first impressions of aesthetics and flavor, 1 out of 5, or from a scale of 1 to 5, it's at least a 3. I'm going to say 3.5 out of 5. It's pretty high. It's very good. It's very good. So it hasn't been around long enough to pass the Bay test. So Big Apple Energy denied. Still, first impressions upon actually eating these specific ones that I have, 3.5 out of 5 stars. The third ranking, what even was my third ranking? I gotta, oh man, I gotta look up what my rankings were. Forget it. I'll remember. It was the Bay test, and that's a fail. The star ranking. Oh, a tier ranking, a lettered tier ranking for this apple. All right, so if I were to rank this on a tier scale, A, B, C, D, F, with S being supreme above all, it's immediately B tier, at least. This apple could easily be rank as someone's immediate favorite. It's a very good apple. Um, I don't want my rankings to be taken very seriously, but at the same time, I also don't want to be like, oh, I already know Jason's going to rank everything as A tier because he just really likes apples and he's a little nuts. So I feel like I should really reserve an A tier on a tier scale for things that are a little bit more elite, have a little more history behind them. It's a really solid apple. It's very good. I could see finding one of these and hearing someone say, "Oh yeah, Wild Twist is definitely the apple that got me into apples. I didn't really pay attention to them before." Um, there's not the depth of flavor isn't terribly complex, but what's there It's light, like compared to the sugarness of, have you had a sugar bee? We'll be reviewing those soon. Sugar bees are pretty, they're somewhat similar to Cripps Pink in that they just kind of smash you over the head with their particular flavor. This, there's a certain depth of complexity here, and it's on the lighter and crisper side. The Oh, what about the skin? The skin is thin and almost brittle. But I don't mean brittle in a bad way, just that it cracks easily when biting. It's a very good apple. I could easily eat a lot of these. If I woke up tomorrow on an island and I only had these, well, I, I would be very upset because how did I get here on this island? Um, so there are other concerns other than just the apples. But I could survive on just this one variety of apple for quite a while and be happy, reasonably happy. I'm thinking in terms of the Jake Appleman Apple Power Ranking now. Where do I want to put this? It failed the Big Apple Energy test simply because it's too young, hasn't been around to establish itself long enough. So Big Apple Energy, sorry, tanked on that. Um, 3.5 out of 5 stars on a star rating. Um, solid B tier on the letter rating. And the Jake Appleman Apple Power Ranking, I would have to place this at, let's see, I gave Envy a 625, and anything over 500 is like very quite good. I would put this at, hmm, the Wild Twist Apple gets a Jake Appleman Apple Power Ranking of 505 and one half. Cripps Pink and Honeycrisp. How can we breed an apple and not go wrong? These two, Cripps Pink and Honeycrisp. It's, mm, it's yeah. I'm gonna come right out and say it. Wild Twist. If you were to make analogies between apples and humans, the parentage on this is so strong. Wild Twist is basically a trust fund baby. And if it has other siblings, this is the hot one. You know exactly what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. I almost wish I didn't like it as much as I do. I don't know why. It's so good. It's really good. Um, in my research on this, I found out that it stands up very well to baking. So use it in pretty much anything. Mm. It is good. I think what gives me the weird feelings about this is how unnecessary it was. Wait until you see the next Apple we review. Totally unnecessary. No one asked for this next one. It's probably going to be pretty good though, because let's be honest, if you're eating apples, you're winning. Um, are we done here, Ben? Ben Davis. Ben Davis thinks we're ready to wrap this one up. Um, yeah, get some. Your homework then is to, well, one, it's to like this video and subscribe, but also I want to know if you guys like Wild Twist. What have you been chewing on lately this week in general? Whether it be Wild Twist apples or some other variety, let me know in the comments. I'm always looking to add to my Apple bucket list. That's a boy. That's a whole video in its own. I could make an hour-long video on the videos or of the apples on my Apple bucket list. There's so much out there. There's so much out there. And I guess that's the whole point of this channel is we're going to try every single one of them, or at least as many as I can get to before I return to dust. Mm, thank you so much for watching. Eat more apples. Mm.